Mr. Jones, how are you? How's work going? Good, good. Life in general? Family's good? Good. Hey, here's what we need to talk about today, okay? Let's talk about hypertension, okay? Which you have, all right? We define hypertension as a blood pressure of greater than 130 over 80, okay? So yours is exceeding that by quite a bit. And we kind of know we've had this problem, okay? But I really want to talk about what hypertension is and why you have it today, all right? And maybe some solutions that we can create for it. So the easiest way that I can think to explain this and the way that makes sense to me is talking about hypertension from a pump and pipes, okay? The pump is obviously your heart, okay? It's pumping all the oxygen and nutrients in your blood around your body. And we got to have it moving, right? Okay? The pipes are the vessels, your arteries and veins that go all around your body to deliver that oxygen and glucose in your blood, and then bring all that blood back to your heart so we can put more on board. Okay. So it's a system and it's a closed system. Okay. And when it's pumping, it's always going to be pumping against the fluid resistance and the pipe resistance. Okay. Your pipes are only a certain diameter. All right. Now they can do this and this to help manage your blood pressure. Okay. But the two reasons that we start getting chronic hypertension is because one, either we've decreased the size of the pipes, okay, or we've increased the amount of blood in those pipes. Does that make sense? Those are the two big reasons that we will get chronic hypertension. Okay, and what happens is high cholesterol, okay, lack of physical activity, smoking, drinking, okay, increases sodium in the diet, diabetes, okay, and genetics plays a big role, okay, can cause those pipes to either shrink, get blockages, or can cause us to have more fluid in our system, all right? Now, the first thing, okay, is the shrinking of those pipes, all right? Atherosclerosis, we get a hardening of those pipes. And then with a high cholesterol in our diets, we get buildup in that pipe, just like in a normal plumbing pipe, okay? Eventually you get buildup, the interior starts to wear down, it gets hard, you get deposits in there, okay? And that's where we really up our risk for stroke, heart attack, throwing those plaque clots and stuff from the pipe, okay? But when that pipe shrinks and we still have the same amount of volume trying to go through the smaller hole, the pressure goes up. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Now, when that pressure goes up, the heart has to pump harder to get that same amount of blood to move in the same time. So it can go faster and harder. Now, your heart's a muscle, right? So the problem is when your heart is beating like that and it has to work harder, it's going to grow. Now, your heart doesn't grow out though. Your heart muscle grows in. Okay, so even though there's more muscle, it's actually decreasing the spaces in your heart that we use to pump that blood out. So you're actually pumping less blood with every beat. Okay, so that's a real problem with hypertension. Okay, is it causes your heart to grow, but in the wrong direction, and now you're decreasing the amount of blood that we're already putting out. All right, that means you're not perfusing your tissues, your organs, your brain, and the heart itself. All right, now, the other thing that can happen is we can increase the volume that we're trying to put through those pipes, okay? And a lot of that comes from a high sodium diet, okay? And what do I mean by high sodium? I mean like highly processed foods. You work shift work, you know you're out on patrol, you grab a bag of chips, high sodium, high processed food, okay? There's a lot of sodium in that. And that sodium causes your kidneys, which is what decides what you get to pee out, what you keep, okay? All that sodium buildup causes your kidneys to pull more water in, okay? More water in your system means you're trying to push more fluid through the same size of pipe, right? And when we have that same size of pipe, trying to push more fluid through it, the pressure goes up, okay? This is all primary hypertension stuff. It's mostly due to lifestyle factors, okay? In your case, your parents both had hypertension, okay? You're African American, okay? Genetically, you have more predisposition to have hypertension. That's just the way it is, okay? You also have a high stress job. Your sleep patterns are broken. Your diet's not great. All these things lead to what we call primary hypertension, okay? Secondary hypertension is stuff like you have a renal disease or a drug use problem, thyroid disorder. Those things cause the hypertension. Now you can have both. You can have primary and secondary hypertension. We get into what's called a complicated hypertension, where if your kidneys aren't working, okay, and you have high blood pressure, okay, it takes 3, 4, 5 medications to manage that hypertension to keep you perfusing your body, okay? And that's like a complicated or complex hypertension, okay, when your primary and secondary hypertension come in. We want to avoid that at all costs, right? We just want to deal with this primary hypertension and be done. Am I right? Okay. So why do you have this? We talked about genetics, okay? African Americans are more predisposed to it. Both your parents had it. They both died from complications. We want to avoid that, okay? So I see you gain 20 pounds in the last year, man, okay? Now, normal weight gain is normal, okay? I get it. As we get older, it's harder to keep those pounds off, right? But extra 20 pounds in a year is a lot of weight, okay? Now, your diet, okay? I worked shift work for a long time. My diet was terrible, okay? I still struggle with my diet. Everyone struggles with their diet. What we're going to talk about doesn't mean you have to immediately tap this down. Doesn't mean that you immediately have to change your diet completely. We're going to make small changes for long-term gains, okay? So the big thing on this diet, okay, is I want you to focus on 3 things, okay? We're going to focus on our total calories and fats, okay, that we're taking in. Okay, we're going to focus on the amount of sodium we're taking in, okay? And then we're going to focus also on the empty calories we're taking in, okay? So first thing we're going to focus on is eating a little better, and this is really fits into this DASH diet, which is a low sodium diet, okay? We want to watch our fats, okay? We want to watch our salt, okay? And what we're going to do with this is we're going to try to avoid highly processed, high sodium foods like chips, potato chips, these kind of things. Now, does it mean you can't eat those things? No, but let's just start lowering the levels down, okay? We're going to increase our fish and poultry intake. We're going to increase our fruits, vegetables, beans, yogurt, okay? And how we're going to do this is I want you to start thinking about this in the morning. You wake up, you're going to eat breakfast. What do you normally eat? Well, usually I grab a muffin or a donut, something like that. It's high calorie, high fat. Instead, let's get some granola, let's do some yogurt, let's cut some fruit up, put it in there, get that going for the day, okay? We're really going to watch fats and sodium, all right? Now, what we're also going to do is we're going to start looking at your empty calories you're taking in, okay? And this has a twofold reason, okay? We talked about that hardening of the arteries, okay? One of the main contributors to that are alcohol and smoking, okay? Now, you quit smoking 5 years ago when you got diagnosed. Hey, man, like that is awesome. Like you cannot beat that. That's the number one thing you need to do, and you did it. And it's tough to do. I know, it's tough. So, hey, you're doing exactly what's right there. This does not mean that you can't drink alcohol, but I know that you're drinking several beers after every shift, and trust me, I know. When you're out there all day, you're dealing with what you deal with, it's hot. Man, a cold beer after a shift is awesome, okay? But what I really need you to do is let's try to cut it down to 1, okay? Having 2, 3, 4 beers after every shift, not only are your calories super high, but the more you use that alcohol, okay, the more you're going to get that atherosclerosis, okay, the more liver damage you're going to do. And it's a real thing. This chronic alcohol use, okay, it really builds up and can really affect your system, all right? Now, like I said, I don't need you to cut out every drink, okay? If you want to have a cold beer after shift, that's great, but let's try to keep it at 1, okay? And I want to make sure that this alcohol, you're not going to start, it's not it's not becoming a compensation tactic, okay? It's not becoming a way for you to deal with the stress of your job, all right? It's okay to have a beer to calm down, relax because you worked hard all day and you just want a cold beer, all right? That's okay. But just realize that alcohol in any form is not good for your system, okay? All these studies about, oh, you need to drink red wine for your heart and drink, alcohol, this amount is okay. Like, alcohol is a poison. In no amount is it good for you in any case, okay? But we put a lot of things in our body that aren't great for us, okay? I just want you to start scaling back that alcohol use, okay? It will help with the hardening in your arteries, okay? It'll help bring a little bit of that pressure down, okay? And all those calories from those beers, man, like that's a lot of empty calories your body does not utilize very well, okay? It'll help with your weight loss, all right? Good. Okay. So, we've talked about what hypertension is. We've talked about why you have it, okay? We've talked about what you can do about it with diet, right? We want you to increase your exercise a little bit, okay? We want to get a little better sleep and try to find some stress coping mechanisms that can help us because all those things can contribute to your hypertension, all right? We have some ideas about that. If you need counseling services, if you just need a timeout, you need somebody to talk to, we can provide those things, okay? You just need to let us know, okay? I just need you to tell me, hey, this is what I need, all right? Take control of that, all right? So for now, okay, what I want to do is I want to start checking your A1C, okay, your fasting glucose, because your mom has type 2 diabetes and you are predisposed to it, okay? And if we get diabetes on top of hypertension, I mean, the risk for cardiovascular events like heart attack and stroke just goes through the roof, okay? So let's start managing your hypertension. Okay, I'm going to send you home with a blood pressure cuff, and I want you to monitor it every day. Get up in the morning, take your blood pressure, okay? Write it down. Let's start trending this blood pressure, and let's start getting it down, okay? And we're going to do that through a little bit more physical activity, right? Watching our sodium and our fats in our diet. Okay, we're going to cut down on the alcohol a little bit, start managing our stress a little bit better. And then if we need to, we're going to start getting on some medications, which, man, like 45% of this country is on a medication to manage their to manage their blood pressure, okay? You're not in this alone, all right? I'm on blood pressure medication, all right? It's something that eventually gets to us in our society, all right? But there are things we can do lifestyle-wise so that we can decrease this. We don't want this to turn into that complex hypertension, right? Where we're taking 4, 5, 6 meds. Kidneys are failing, liver's failing, okay? We want to manage this with lifestyle and maybe a little bit of pharmacology, all right? So let's start managing this hypertension. We're going to check our diabetes out. We're going to try to get that under control before it even becomes a problem, all right? And we're going to lower that hypertension, get you eating healthier, a little more physical activity, managing stress, and I think we're going to be good, man. All right? Do you have questions for me?